you guys. Thank you, Janey. I have this mini chapbook thing that has one poem in it, and the cover is actually made out of my old clothes. My friend in Arizona makes little mini chapbooks, and he and his girlfriend make them often out of old clothes, and they put the old clothes, they cut up the old clothes and put them in a tub and make this paper out of old clothes. So anyways, this one is made out of that, and I'm just passing them out for free. Free. I'm gonna read the piece from that little thing first. It's called What? A man sleeping on the back steps of a mall has memorized the greatest poem in the world. When he wakes up, he recites it to himself. I say, "What is that?" He says, "What is what?" That's it. Neat. I was going to use Janey's printer. I texted him earlier. I said, "Do you have a printer I could use?" And he was like, "Yeah, for sure." So I come over here and I asked him, I was like, "Can I use your printer?" And he was like, "Well, I have a printer, but I don't have a computer." So, the rest of these are going to be read off of this, but that's okay. I'm saving paper. I've been working in a longer mode lately. I wrote a lot of short poems for like a year, and it was just like I was working with short poems, and now I'm working with longer poems. So this one is the first one that I kind of started working in the longer mode with. It's called To the Reader. I write this while I'm drowning. I write this while I'm watching a film that makes me physically ill. I write this as I drive down the superhighway to find the garden. I write this in the stony woods, in 100 nameless deserts. I write this out of respect for my miserable bedroom. I write this as a preface to my clock, as the pregnant void in the center of an atom. I write this sitting in a bonfire, as a deranged pantheist, as a bat who refuses to drop bombs. I write this to delay nirvana, as an elegy for sticking legs on a snake, for looking for the horse while riding it. I write this because when has it not been now? I write this as advanced daydreaming. I write this while I eat a plate of smoked ham, while I buy a basket of vegetables, while I heat leftovers in my microwave. I write this in the course of gravity. I write this while I listen to the ravings of Hitler, while someone plays ping pong with an eyeball. I write this from a mobile standpoint. I write this because a swab of DNA from my cheek can tell me my ancestry. Because there are 62,000 miles of blood vessels in my body. Because I have been struck by lightning. Because my dad gathered me in the rain and brought me to our table. Because the sea has enough salt to cover every continent. Because the best scientists are assigned to the military. Because 0.3% of solar energy from one desert could power the U.S. Because sound can rip holes through objects. I write this as irrational science. I write this as a chair with someone on its lap. I write this falling asleep in my chair. I write this in a sad, strange house in a colony of houses. I write this as a search engine open in a dining room. I write this in the wounds of the 21st century. I write this out of anxiety for my inbox. I write this because small people live large lives. I write this as a poet makes a video poem. I write this as 100,000 people watch the same video. I write this in 1,000 empty chat rooms. I write this as a child draws a universe on the sidewalk. I write this shocked at the manifestations of power. I write this for the organic pattern of the physical world. I write this to clean the ears of the musically educated, as liquid boiling at an unpremeditated rhythm. I write this because I feel, therefore I think. Because a plant's emotional response to humans can be recorded by a machine. I write this as a piece of driftwood in the Pacific Ocean. I write this because there are 100 billion neurons in my brain. I write this as an old goat on a lonely rock, as the quiet dark in a stand of still trees. I write this out of the big bang of my existence, in a classroom the size of a closet. I write this as a cow standing up to sleep, as a cow lying down to dream, as the fourth stomach of a cow, as an ant hallucinating from no sleep, as a cockroach getting brain surgery, as the no stomach of a moth. They don't have stomachs. I write this while a child gathers a sense of separateness. I write this while time is passing. I write this since time has passed. I write this as time goes, from time spent. I write this because we are relatives.
Nice.
Does anybody know Bill Knott in here?
Yes.
Bill Knott, the poet?
Yes.
He's one of my favorites. I love him. And he, as some of you might know, he faked his suicide in the mid-60s and wrote this letter to all of his loved ones and said that he was about to commit suicide and everybody thought he was dead. And apparently his professor went to his house afterwards and found him in his bedroom and was freaked out and all this stuff. But Bill Knott is characteristically a very strange, smart, bitter person. And so anyways, I posted a very short poem from Bill Knott on Twitter a couple weeks ago, and I wake up in the morning and Bill Knott had responded to my tweet of his poem. And he said, he was like, remember that the title and the period are just as important as the words of the poem. And so, I respect Bill Knott, so I reposted it with the title and the period of the poem, and responded. I said something to him, and he responded back, and he was like, nothing is more insulting to a 73-year-old poet than telling him that you're reading his first book of poems, because I told him I was reading his Naomi poems. He said nothing's more insulting to a 73-year-old poet than telling him that you're reading his first book of poems instead of his new ones. And then a couple weeks later, he found this little review I wrote of his first book, and he came back and he said, "You're only stabbing me in the back with your Tumblr nonsense." And so, anyways, we've had this weird back and forth conversation, and I want to actually write a piece based on the conversations I've had with him. But anyways, this one is called After Bill Knott. It's not about the conversations, but if you were still dead when you read this, open your eyes. I am on the tips of your eyeballs, growing bright. That's it. This is not necessarily long, not necessarily short. It's kind of in my newer long mode, but it's called Bring Me My Absolute Surrender. My psychotechnology, my traffic jam, my battlefield where the sun says I see you, my originary resilience, my boat with no motor, coughing up the texture of the stars, my water that hasn't kept an image, my brief description in this field of activity, my controlled accident, my dark room full of mirrors, my castrated illusions, my snow flood, my foghorns, my horrible sleep, my lightning bolt, my science of silence, my sentient sentences, my neurophysical centers, my dark blue polka dot button down, my sharp cheddar and spinach, my yerba mate, my image of an ancient saint dreaming of computers, my tongue in the thunder's mouth, my universal dark, my tall glass of water, my remaining ghost, my duffel bag, my microscope, my tired eyes. That's it. Actually, my last poem, super short. It's called Apollinaire in America. I don't know if you guys know Apollinaire.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, amazing. Okay. It's a minute from snowing. There's electricity in the air and a rose on the table like a dog begging you to play with it.